Hey Cha-Cha Nation.
Hi Cha-Cha Nation.
Hi Cha-Cha Nation.
Yes, so Cha-Cha Nation. This na Cha-Cha Music Review Podcast. And based on logistics, we're going to amplify the African sound by bringing the best of African music into your ears.
Yeah.
Cha-Cha.
What up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and members of the Cha-Cha Nation. You already know what time it is. It is time for Cha-Cha album review series. And I'm not going to be alone today. I have one of the best radio presenter from the north. And I'm talking about my brother from another mother. Someone that I've missed a lot on the podcast. And I'm sure you guys have also missed hearing his voice. He's no other person than Jerry Abi.
Yo, my man, I'm really excited and I am humbled to be on your podcast once again. It's always a pleasure any day, even though you wake me in the middle of my sleep to do this with you. I am ready anytime. And secondly, congratulations on your award. Yeah, and now I'm really humbled that I'm a guest on an award-winning podcast right now.
It is our award. Because you were also one of the people, that made this award. I mean, if I'm being honest, the award would not have been possible without, the Cha-Cha gang and also without every other guest, that I've had. And for those that don't know, for those that might be listening to this for the first time, you are not just a guest. You were a co-host on the podcast. We had our own series, that we were doing, right? So that's why I said it is our award, not just my award. So congratulations, to the both of us, right? Now, today we'll be talking about someone that decided to say, okay, you know what? For me in my life, I'll pick sex over love. And then all of a sudden, he turned around and he said he's now a young preacher. But what exactly is it preaching? That is what we are about to find out on this episode of the Cha-Cha album review series. And yes, we are talking about Blaqbonez's new album titled Young Preacher. But before we get into the album, let me ask you, Jerry.
Yeah.
How would you rate Blaqbonez's career from the first time you heard about whatever song you released the year that you discovered him, up until the point where he dropped, that Sex Over Love album? How would you say his career has panned out?
To be very honest, Blaqbonez, as it is right now, is one of my favorite guys in the music industry. Simply because he's not just a musician, but Blaqbonez is also an entertainer. And if I am to rate Blaqbonez from when he started in the music industry to where he is right now, I feel Blaqbonez is a definition of trust your process. There's this popular saying, trust your process. Blaqbonez is the definition of that, because we all know Blaqbonez right from when he started, but he wasn't getting the recognition he deserved. His genre of music was way out of it. Generally, rap, we are beginning to see, if not now, rap isn't a thing that is really selling in the country again. And I love that fact of Blaqbonez, the fact that he is a rapper, but he could literally play around his niche and make it fun. Now I can literally say, aside Ladipo, Blaqbonez is one guy that has made me still love rap till tomorrow, because of the way they have been creative about the whole rap thing. So Blaqbonez is just a definition of trust your process. When I knew Blaqbonez back then, I knew him as a normal, regular person that, okay, maybe after some time, he's going to die down, to be very honest with you. Because of how the music industry, the music business is in the country, I could literally say, okay, at some point this guy will die, because not everybody really wants to buy. But then, the way he was able to work on himself, play around with different ideas, you get, he was just being creative. His creativity made Blaqbonez stand out to more. And I can tell you, Blaqbonez is one exceptional rapper in this country. We all should literally pay respect to and give him the accolades he deserves. Because right from I started rating Blaqbonez proper, to be very honest, after the song with Buju and Amaarae, Bling Bling. That was when I started rating Blaqbonez. I know he had songs with Tiwa Savage over time, some of his hit songs, but then I started rating Blaqbonez proper after Bling Bling with Amaarae and Buju, whereas Benson right now. You get, because that song or that particular single rather was, I think the single topped so many charts in the country and even outside the country. He was still steadfast enough and strong enough not to deviate and just to push forward till we got Sex Over Love album, and now The Young Preacher. Like, Sex Over Love is actually one album I am not done listening to be very honest, and now Young Preacher is here. Like, these are albums I literally mess with like every single time. You get, so like Blaqbonez over time has been a very good and great guy in the music industry, and yeah, I think he right now is getting the recognition and accolades he deserves because he has worked for it over time. So it's just best he gets everything he's getting right now.
I wanted us to speak about that because, you know, at times when we talk about artists dropping their sophomore album, a lot of us tend to compare the sophomore album to the debut album, and we feel like, oh yeah, the debut album made millions of streams, so the sophomore album should be way better and blah 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 blah. But at times we forget about the growth of this, you know, artist, which is why I had to, you know, talk about that. Because for me, honestly speaking, if there's one thing you said, you know, about Blaqbonez is his creativity, and I like how, and that is one thing I admire most about Blaqbonez, how he has been able to reinvent, let me use that word, you know, himself. Because the Blaqbonez before signing to Chocolate City, which was, you know, straight rap and all of that, and then he signed on to Chocolate City and he released the album Sex Over Love, which I'm not even going to lie, in my own opinion, I feel like Sex Over Love, yes, it was a good album, but I felt it sounded like experiments where there was a lot of auto-tune on some song, and that in a way kind of, you know, did not really make me. But like you rightly said, that song Bling Bling with Amaarae and Buju, that was like, yo, I mean, like you said, before that song there was the one with Tiwa Savage, which is BBC, which was, you know, already blowing. But then
BBC,
but then, you know, Bling 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 came in and it felt like, oh yeah, he has cemented his place, you know, and he has nailed it. And if you are talking about rap, you know, Blaqbonez is the person that you are going to call and say, okay, yes, this guy, you know, does rap. And I honestly would say I love how he was able to reinvent himself in terms of creativity to get to this point that we are now talking about his sophomore album, which is his second album, titled The Young Preacher. Now, this album was released on the 28th of October 2022, and it has 13 tracks, and it features artists like Lojay, Amaarae once again, Blxckie, Superboy Cheque, and Taylor, Tekno, Takura, and also Bein of Sauti. So, and the producers on the album include J5, Ozedikus, Beatz, 1010, Telz, aka Funkilla. You have Gangstamadeit, you have Joffstar, you have BMH, and you also have Ramoni. Now, those are the producers that worked on the album. So now you have the Young Preacher. Let me ask you this question straight up. What exactly was the sermon that Blaqbonez was preaching on this album?
Basically, Young Preacher is simply an album, or what Blaqbonez is trying to interpret to every Nigerians out there is the fact that it's just all about you getting your masculinity as a man. Basically, I think this album is, I feel the album is strictly meant for guys, if you ask me personally, because all what was said in the album was strictly about men, and it's all about what is happening right now. Fear women. that's trending right now, the common trend. But if I thought most men are literally taking their time to listen to a young preacher, I'm sure most of them will be falling for what's happening right now. But then, basically, back to the question here. Young preacher is simply about guys not simping to ladies, and just avoid getting used by these so-called ladies. Not just anyhow kind of ladies. They refer to them as leech. They are leech. Girls that naturally feel entitled to your stuff. These are girls you should be careful of and not wanting to have anything to do with them. So young preacher is just basically about you as a man finding your own self and not just be foolish for any girl out there, basically. But if you take your time and listen to the lyrics of the song, track by track, you will definitely know this is just about you getting your masculinity frame in check and not lose guarding for any random chick on the street that don't deserve your energy. Basically, that's why I feel the Young Preacher album is all about.
So the basic sermon on Young Preacher, it's more like where it left off. I mean, from sex over love, it technically made us understood, like, you know what? For me, I'm only going to pick sex over love because it seems like love does not exist anymore. Then now it came with Young Preacher, and the sermon is, guy, use your sense. Like the popular quote we used to say, "Shola Fobini," and that is what Blaqbonez is running out about on this album. But now, let's go back a bit and let's talk about what was your first impression when you listened to the album for the first time. How did you feel?
I felt super happy and excited, to be very honest with you. I think Blaqbonez album, the Young Preacher album, was one of the few albums I've listened to over time. And first listen, I could literally feel every single song in the album. Again, because I could vividly remember that very night I was out when the album dropped. I have been anticipating the album, so as soon as it dropped, I got the notification. I downloaded it ASAP, and I took my time to listen to it. I was out, but I could still listen to it with my earpiece, and I could literally relate to like most of the tracks in the album. And when I got back home, I listened to it for the second time, paid full attention as usual. Then I'll tell you, it was like an amazing body of work, down to the features it did in the album. They were just all amazing. Lojay came with his own energy, killed it. Lwar came with his own energy, killed it. Superboy Cheque took, everybody featured in the album were literally like the perfect person to just be on that album. You get? So it was like a great listen for me. First time listening to it was very great, to be honest.
I would say this was like an upgrade to Sex Over Love, to be honest.
Yes, I agree with you.
I mean, listening to Young Preacher, it felt like Sex Over Love was like an experiment. Make I give you now, make I say now go take collect them. Then if na collect them well, I'll come drop you now with the original, with the original album, the one where we say go shock everybody. And I'm not going to lie, in terms of rap and hip-hop albums that I've listened to this year, Young Preacher is definitely one of the best, rap and hip-hop album to come out of Nigeria without, any doubt. I'm not going to lie, I love the album. The first time I listened to the album, in fact, from the first track, I was like, yes, this is what, I'm looking for. This is what I need. Now, let's talk about what songs would you say are your favorite songs, and what song, if any, would you say you did not really fuck with on this album, and why didn't you fuck with those songs?
Well, to be very honest with you, there is no song in the album I'll tell you I don't like. I love every song in the album, and that's my honest truth. But yeah, if I'm to pick a favorite, I would pick the one with I think there's this particular I'll Be Waiting. Yes, I'll Be Waiting. And why I'll pick I'll Be Waiting is because there's this thing about the particular track. I don't know
That's like practically the last track on the album, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the last track
But
on
I
the
don't
album.
know
I'll be waiting.
if
Yeah.
you paid close attention to the song, where he literally had to cue in Asha sample and what was this other guy's name? I'm trying to remember this one of these veteran artists in the country, Paul, I think it's Paul Ike Dairo, I guess. He was able to like cue in their sample into that song and still gave us the normal Blaqbonez. Like, no, I felt it. Like, it's one track I know I have listened to countless times. I think I've even lost count listening to that particular track, because the creativity in that particular track alone was just way out of it. I was able to infuse that Asha sample and Paul Ikidairo sample into that song and was still able to bang well like that. Like, no, that was like quite exceptional for me, to be very honest. But then, like, I fuck with every song in the album. I can't tell you I don't like any, but then that particular I've been waiting, the creativity in that song, like, nah, I give it up for Blaqbonez. He tried.
Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. Right about now, I can't even remember if he actually sampled a song on that album, or sorry, on that particular track or not. Let me pass this section of this episode to my guys at the Sample Asics podcast. Now, those guys, they are guys that deal with samples on any song. So I'm asking them and I'm challenging them to go and listen to I'll Be Waiting by Blaqbonez and tell us what songs exactly the Blaqbonez sample on that track. So this is me passing the mic to them and let them handle their thing, because that is what they do best. And for those of you that do not listen to Sample Asics podcast, please listen to that podcast. It is one of the best music podcasts in Nigeria. Trust me, guaranteed, stamped by yours truly, Hafeestonova. Now, Black to Blaqbonez. I mean, like you rightly said, there is no song on the album that, honestly speaking, that I don't like. But in terms of favorites, say, okay, which song I'd always jam past mostly, number one has to be Odd Boy. I love Odd Boy a lot. I love Whistle a lot. I feel like Blaqbonez and Amaarae, they've developed some kind of chemistry between them, and I'm one of those people that inside me, I don't know, I'm just wishing like, what if these two people just release like a joint, maybe an EP or an album, something that is no more than maybe 6 or 8 tracks, and let's see how it's going to sound, because I feel like they have this kind of chemistry together. Another song that I like on the album.
I'm not surprised for Amaarae and Blaqbonez chemistry as regards music, and that's because I'll just simply say Amaarae is more of an alternative singer, and an alternative singer, a good alternative singer should be a singer or an artist that should be able to blend in with any genre of music, and that's why they are referred to as an alternative singer, or they, like we most likely know them to be. And that's more reason why I respect Show Them Camp till tomorrow, because I know they are like the origins of alternative music in the country. But then these are guys you see that can literally jump on any genre of music to give them, and the flow to slow. I think same goes with Amaarae, and that's why I feel Blaqbonez and Amarae's chemistry are just there whenever they come together for a song.
Okay, I mean, rightly said, there's nothing more to add to that. You just took that out of my mouth. So on that song that I like on the album, I mean, has to be S Mama, which features Tekno. I love that song a lot. And also, Back on the BS, that's another song, that I love on the album. Now, we've spoken about some of the producers, that worked on the album. We spoke about, J5, we spoke about Ramoni. Now, in terms of the production of the album, what would you say about the production of this album?
Okay, as regards the production of the album, the production was top notch, to be very honest. We had the likes of J5 back in uni, and other amazing producers in the album. So the production was amazing. But then the standout production for me is Wunu by Ozedikus, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So, and like one thing about Ozedikus I love is the fact that his production always stands out. and shine, whether it's an interlude or not. Like, I have paid attention to most of these producer guys, but there's one particular thing about Ozedikus I respect it tomorrow. Interlude or not, his production is always standing out and shining. You get, and if you actually listen to it very well, you should know the record like actually fuses sounds from the 90s and blends in such a way that allows Blaqbonez slide over the production with his bars. I don't know if you get. And like that's like one of the standout.
I get you totally.
Yeah, and that's like one of the standout production for me in the album. Like I fuck with the production on that particular track a lot.
So now let's just wrap this whole conversation up, and let me ask you this question. Now, in your own opinion, right, after listening to Sex Over Love and listening to the Young Preacher, would you say this Young Preacher is a step up in terms of Blaqbonez's career, or a letdown compared to what Sex Over Love has done? That's the first question. And now the second question is this: it seems like Blaqbonez has found his niche when it comes to rapping in terms of topics, right? We have artists that talk about that just give basic rap. But if you listen to Sex Over Love and you listen to Young Preacher, you can categorically say that Blaqbonez is concerned about the relationship of guys and girls and whatnot today. Now, would you say that Blaqbonez has finally found his calling in terms of his niche of rap, or this is just a fluke for him and it will fade out?
Like I said earlier, right? Let me start with the second question you asked. Like I said earlier at the beginning of this podcast, like Blaqbonez was creative enough to find a niche for himself. And now I don't think this part of Blaqbonez is ever fading. I don't think so. Because this is what is making him stand out from every other artist in the country. And this is what is literally selling for him at the moment. If you're a fuck boy, permit me to say this, if you're a fuck boy, Blaqbonez is for you. And judging from the society and everything, we have a lot of fuck boys, intelligent fuck boys, let me put it that way. So there's no way you can be intelligent and be a fuck boy and not know Blaqbonez. Like, it's absurd, especially when you're on social media. Now, Blaqbonez has actually created a niche for himself that is more than just a musician or an artist. Blaqbonez is already an entertainer. He has his way of giving you entertainment even outside music. Do you get? So it's going to be hard for Blaqbonez now to just say he's doing this niche in music and he's going to stand out, or is the fluke. No, I don't really think it's a fluke. But then this is something that will make him stand out and stay relevant for a long period of time. If along the line he decides to switch his niche or something, it's fine. But that's actually part of growth and reinventing. So which is totally fine. But then I don't think that this aspect of Blaqbonez is fading away soon. I think it has literally come to stay. And then talking about the album, back to the first question, talking about the album, Young Preacher, I'll tell you, Young Preacher is literally a step-up game to Sex Over Love. Basically, like, Sex Over Love is a dope body of work as well. But then Young Preacher is actually was a step up actually to Sex Over Love. So like, it was just an upgrade of Blaqbonez. That's literally an upgrade of Blaqbonez for you. And he's widely accepted, and I think his brand, his marketing strategy, everything is just working perfectly for him. So I don't think that guy is leaving the music industry or fading out anytime soon, to be very honest.
I feel like Young Preacher is a big step up from Sex Over Love. I mean, if not for anything, for the fact that when I was listening to Sex Over Love, like, yo nigga, the auto-tune was way fucking too much, you need to turn it down. And then listen to Young Preacher, the first thing that got me, like, yo nigga, you got your production right. Like, your production was dope, it was perfect. And then even the message, the sermon in which you delivered, like Riley said, if you are a fuck boy and you're not fucking with Blaqbonez, then I don't understand who you're fucking with. Like, honestly speaking, I mean, I remember when that song back in uni dropped, in my mind I'm like, Yo, this guy just spoke for literally every fuck boy because if you begin to count those girls who play their art in university, oh my king God.
Exactly.
I mean, and I think that was like the perfect single, to set off, the whole album. So, like you rightly said, it's a very good stepping stone for Blaqbonez. It really came through, on this album. So, just a quick one. If you had to rate the album, what's going to be your rating on the album?
I might sound selfish, I might sound partial, but to be very honest with you, I'm giving Blaqbonez a 10 over 10 on this album.
For me, because me, I did very stingy. If I be lecturer, go if you get 100 for my score. So I'm not going to give a Blaqbonez a 10 over 10. But if I'm being honest, in terms of rap albums that I've listened to this year, like I already said, it is one of my top 3, and this is me being honest, one of my top 3 rap albums that I've listening to, this year. And also, my rating of the album is going to be a 9 over 10. I love and I enjoyed, what Blaqbonez, did on this album. That being said, once again, Jerry, thank you very much, for doing this. But before you go, I want you to remind the people who Jerry Abbey is and what you do exactly. Plug yourself in. May they know say na celebrity na ya get on top of this episode. You understand?
I'm just a random guy. Well, yeah, I am Jerry Abbey. I'm an on-air personality. I do radio. I do podcasts, just like Hafeestonova, my mom's. Thank you for always inspiring me to do podcast. And yeah.
Thank you very much once again, Jerry, for being on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. It's always a pleasure, having you on the podcast. Like, I mean, it's always going to be a lovely conversation. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and my amazing members of the Chacha Nation, we have come to the end of this episode of the Chacha Album Review Series on your award-winning podcast, the Chacha Music Review Podcast. Like, come here with another episode. Remember, my name will always be Hafeestonova, aka your musical plug, creator of the Energy Force. I hope this sermon from Blaqbonez and the young preacher has gotten into your ears. Remember, keep the energy, keep it 100, and keep it positive. Peace out.
Cha-cha time, two time for the cha-cha gang. Give me the cha-cha gang. Rockin' with the best, the cha-cha gang. Give me the cha-cha gang. Alaye with cha-cha gang. Give me the cha-cha gang. Wati my boy, the cha-cha gang. Give me the cha-cha gang. Cha-cha gang. Wati my boy.